Students, you may have heard that HBU Moody Library has been moved to the second floor of the library. One wonderful thing that we have across from the reference desk on the second floor is something we call the Test Center. The Test Center is a table that has books that either have reviews or critiques of psychological tests or instruments, or actually has the full text of the test in them. We do have, luckily, a way you can search these books to see what tests are in them by going to the LibGuide for psychological tests and measures. So if I go and click on from the library's homepage, hbu.edu/Moody, to LibGuides by subject here on the left side, I will be taken to a list of LibGuides. If I scroll down to psychology and click, I will be able to click then on psychological tests and measures. This little box right here searches books that are on the Test Center table. Please be aware that just because a test is listed in one of these books doesn't mean that the full text is there. You'll actually have to go and look at the catalog record for that. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you, or it could just talk about the test. So, for example, for, let's say, a test on self-efficacy, I'm typing this term in here into this search that only searches the Test Center books. Now also, you might not want to forget that you might want to check the catalog, the regular catalog, to see if a book that comes up in your search that might have a test might be online, and we may have a copy of it, or it could also be in our collection on the second floor as a circulating book. I'm not saying that every book we have that might have tests or instruments in it is on the Test Center table, but it might help you locate tests easily and quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and run this search, and like I said, that box is only searching the books that are on the Test Center table. Now you see that we went straight into the library catalog because it says catalog searches here, and we're in the catalog here, not a database. This is listing different books, and we actually got 16 titles. Now several of these come up. This is one right here that I usually bring to class, Measures for Clinical Practice, and some others have come up here. Let me go down again. This one on number 9 is the same as the one you saw on number 3, just a different edition. And this is another one that's the same, a different edition as the one I showed you before also. So these books are all on the Test Center. Now look at the different titles. Some of these might be something you might want to look at anyway. But starting from the top, I'm going to open the first record, Encyclopedia of Psychological Assessments. This is actually an ebook, okay? But rather than go ahead and clicking on the URL to open the ebook, I'm going to click on the title and look at the record for that book, okay? So this is telling me it's an online book from Credo. If I click on the catalog record, this is telling me that this has, it may just give us little critiques on these tests that are in here, or it may actually have the test. I am not sure. And it has a long list of tests, as you can see in here. Now, if I go back to the top and push Control F, I will get in my search box and I can type in self-efficacy, and it appears there. Hold, excuse me. And it appears there on the first line right in here. Then if I go ahead and click next, go down, it appears also in the contents notes. Now I don't know, without looking at this book, that it actually has the test I want. I'm sure there's more than one test that will gauge this or score this. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the item information and click on the URL to look at this online book. And I have to log in because I'm off campus. And now I'm in this book from Credo. Now it says search within this title, so I'm going to go ahead and plop self-efficacy there. Whoops, not there. And it searches the whole book. And you can see the pages that came up. And the Encyclopedia of Psychological Assessment, self-efficacy beliefs, self-control, self-report, test anxiety. And unless you open this up and actually see self-efficacy test, you don't know if you're actually getting a copy of the test or not. You'd have to go look through all of these. Okay, so let me close out of that. And go back to the library's homepage. I'm going back here in the orange to another book, a Handbook of Assessment of Clinical Gerontology. I'm not interested in this age group, so I'll go to the next one. And this book is actually on the test center. You can see here, test center, second floor. It's on our second floor of the library. And this URL link here is just giving you more records about that book. It's not going to link you to the actual book. This is not an ebook. Click on the catalog record and do the Control F again. And self-efficacy is still there. And I'll run that down. It shows in the title up at the top, or actually underneath this search screen. And I run it again. Let's see if it comes up. And it's not coming up in here. Let me check that again. Because it's not, I'm just going to type self and see what happens. I have self-report, self-concept, self-control. Let's see what else. Self-form, self-esteem, self-rating, self-esteem, self-control, self-concept. Now, if any of these run along the same lines, what you need, you're welcome to go look at these and see if these will work for you. Self-examination, self-statement, self-report, self-statement again. And there we go. Here's another one though. Here's career decision self-efficacy scale. But that may not be what I'm looking for if I'm just looking for a self-efficacy scale not related to a career decision. Paging down, self-efficacy, self-reinforcement, eating self-efficacy scale. That's interesting. Here's an index of self-esteem. And then you've got a self-statement schedule, and multi-dimensional body self-relations questionnaire, self-statements. Now here's a physical self-efficacy scale. So even though we did not get it the first time we searched it, we are still getting other tests that have self-efficacy in the title of the test. And scrolling down to look at some more. Here are some more tests with the word self-efficacy. Here's self-efficacy scale for schizophrenics. Okay, so it depends on which self-efficacy scale you might want. So when we're doing this search, we're only looking in the title of the test name to see if it might be something we might want to use. Okay. Also, remember, we're not in the item record, we're actually in the catalog record. And if you scroll through here, you'll see it says complete instruments in volume 1. So you need to see notes like that to tell you that this is actually talking about the full text of the instruments. Complete instruments in volume 2. You need to look for some kind of note like that that tells you that we're talking about full text of the test in the actual book itself. Okay, let me go back. And we looked at 1 and 2. Actually, skipped 2. Looked at 3. Let's see if we can find another one we might want to try. Let's see here. Let's try Handbook of Tests and Measurements in Education and Social Sciences. This one's on the test centers. You would need the call number to find it. It's not in the regular collection of books on the second floor. This is on the test center itself. Okay, so this is the item record. We have to click on the catalog record again, and we have to look at each one of these items that came up to see if it has the book we might be interested in. I'm gonna go ahead and try that self-efficacy again. Sometimes the hyphen will keep names from coming up, or it may not. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put the hyphen here and see what happens. Ah, that worked. So sometimes you need to add the hyphen in the middle to actually pull up what you're looking for. This one only has the principal self-efficacy instrument. Let's see if I go down, are there any? I don't think it's going to be any others because it's not showing any others. So let me go ahead and take that off, the efficacy part, and just do the self, so that I can see if there's any others that might come up. Self-esteem, and looks like there's 6, so let me go down through those. So self-actualization, self-concept, self-concept, the one we saw before, self-esteem, and that is all we get in that book. So if you see one of these that you're interested in, you'd have to go to the second floor and pull this book off the shelf by call number through the test center, and then look at these different scales that are listed and see if the questions match what you want. Don't be afraid to change the wording if there's some other synonym that might work for you, to see if you can find a test that will work for you. Don't be afraid to come up to the second floor and just look through these books and look through the questions that are asked and how long it takes to give the test, to see if it might be something you might want to use. Now, not all of you will need to have the full text of the test, so some of this might be just looking to see if you can find information about your test. Okay, that was how to use the test center from the Psychological Test and Measures LibGuide. Thank you.